Hello everyone and welcome to this online section of Math 043. I will be your instructor this semester, Ms. Fussell. If you have any questions throughout the semester, please feel free to email me or use the Help Me discussion board, which is located under Collaboration in our Blackboard shell. I do just want to take a moment to go through a couple of things in Blackboard. Let me share my screen with you. So here I am in the Getting Started. That's where you should start. It is the third item in the menu on the left. There is a welcome video for Math 043. Please make sure you watch that video in its entirety. It has some important information on how to get started in this course. You will also need to take the course entry quiz. You have to have that completed by August 25th to remain enrolled in this class. If you do not complete that, you will be withdrawn from the course. You will, however, want to do that earlier than that because you will not have access to the rest of the course until you complete this and some other items. So make sure you get that course entry quiz done as soon as possible. I've already done my course entry quiz, so I have access to the course policies that you can see here. So if I click on that course policies, there's lots of information in there. Course dates, information about the grading policy, attendance, coursework, just some general information. Please make sure you go through all of those items. Okay. Once you have done that, you can click Reviewed, and once you have reviewed, the syllabus and the weekly schedule will show up. This will be a link to our schedule. And then you will also have access to the course policy survey. This is different from the course entry quiz. This survey is specific to this class, and it is due on August the 18th, which is Wednesday. So make sure you get that course entry quiz done ASAP so you can get the course policy survey completed. This will need to be completed with a score of 90 or better. Okay. In this course policy survey, there are several questions, 17 to be exact. The first question deals with you're reading the syllabus and saying you understand the rules of the class. The next question deals with plagiarism and saying you agree not to cheat. Those first two questions are required. You must put your first and last name in the blanks there and submit that. I will have to grade those, so please know that Blackboard will give you a 0 to begin with. Question 3 deals with FERPA and how I can disseminate information to you, whether or not I can email you or not about your grades. So if you want me to be able to email you information, then you need to fill your first name into those blanks. Again, that is optional, but again, also if you want me to be able to email you about your grades, then you need to complete that. The next questions, 4 through 17, deal with the course in general. So what kind of grades you get in this course, some information about resources, and so on. Most of them are true-false, so you can answer those. And if you get through and you don't get the 90, which is required for the course policy survey, it has unlimited attempts. So once you're done and you submit your course policy survey, it'll tell you which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong. You can see what you submitted, and then you can go in and try again. Remember, you do have to get a 90 on this for any of the other content in the course to open. Okay. So if I go into lessons, if you have not gotten a 90, you will see this only, no weekly folders. If you got a 90 or a better on your course policy survey, then you'll see the workbook and the Unit 1 folder. Okay, inside that Unit 1 folder is going to be all of our information for this first unit this semester. The first thing in there is an overview. I have another short little video that goes over how the folders are set up, where you can find information, what the lessons look like, So notice here it says quick checks will be due on Wednesday and Friday by 7 p.m. Yes, I know that is different from a lot of your online classes. That's because 7 p.m. I'm still awake, and if you have problems submitting, I may be able to help you. That's why I have that 7 p.m. time and not midnight, because at midnight I'm in bed and you have no help. All right, so usually on Wednesdays especially, I have office hours online from 6:30 to 7:30. So if you're having issues with that last minute submission, you'll be able to talk to me via Teams, and maybe we can get something figured out. Also, please remember when you went through the course policy surveys under that tardy, I do take late work. So even if you don't get it submitted by 7, if it's 8 o'clock, if it's 10 o'clock, if it's midnight, go ahead and still submit it. You may get 1 or 2 points off, but at least you'll still get a grade. So make sure you're paying attention to the time, but don't overly fret about it either. Okay? I do have some Excel help videos posted. As we're looking at Module 1 and 143, you're going to have a lot of Excel. So I do have some videos posted for you. In our Week 1 folder, we have activities and assignments. All your activities and assignments will be listed here, and then the actual lessons and assignments will be below. So we're going to do 4 lessons this week: a course introduction, proportions, intro to Excel, and then a homework study skill. All of these lessons will be presented with a program called SoftChalk. That's what this L stands for, is SoftChalk lesson. When I open those, you will start the lesson, and then depending on the lesson, they all have learning outcomes in the workbook pages, and then the next page will be different. Some will have notes, some may have math work, some may have videos. It just depends on the specific lesson. This one has 2 videos, and then that next page gives you information about your first assignment, since it's a discussion board. So you'll need to read through that to go through that assignment. And then there's also some information about the Blackboard calendar that you may want to use. Okay. One of the other lessons, let's do proportions. You can see there's the getting started, definitions and uses, reading and writing proportions. So that would be more notes that you would be writing down. Let's go to the definitions. There will be videos usually, with intro on the material. I tried to use videos that are hopefully a little bit entertaining. And then the last couple of pages will usually be examples from the workbook. So anytime there are workbook examples, I will have worked them in the lesson. So here you can see I've done example 1, and I've shown you the method I used and all the work done for that, or method 2. And then there's example 2 on our next one. We have examples 3 and 4. Depending on the lesson, there may also be a video of me working the problems, just depending on how much time I had to get the lessons completed, and the material in some cases. So you will have those. Please make sure you go through the lessons before you attempt the problems. Okay, so then for this one, proportions, and then we have intro to Excel, we have what's called a quick check. So those quick checks, like I said, will come straight from the workbook. So if I click on that, and I will continue on to the quick check, notice up here it tells me I have 5 attempts. So you get 5 attempts at each question, and it'll tell you which attempt you're on, or 5 attempts at each quick check, and then it'll tell you which one it's on. Some of the problems are multiple choice, some are fill in the blank. This one, select each item. So there may be more than one item, so make sure if there's multiple answers, you select all of the answers. And notice down here at the bottom, there's an option for this one. And all of them will have a place where you can upload. Sometimes it will be optional, sometimes it will be required, so make sure you read carefully. So on this one, you can upload any work for the problems in the quick check, and it may help in providing any extra credit. So any work that you upload, please make sure that your work is legible and numbered, so I know which problems it goes with. and numbered from the quick check. So if you're putting work for question number 4, put number 4 and then your work. Okay? You can only upload one file, so make sure that if you have multiple images, perhaps you've used the camera on your phone, put all of those images into a Word file and submit that Word file. Also, make sure when you put in your images and you submit your document, make sure everything is oriented correctly so that nothing is upside down or sideways. Make sure it is all in a format that I can read. Okay. If you need some way to scan the information, if you go and look in that Getting Started back in the course policies, and this was added today in case you haven't seen it yet, under coursework, I have given you some information about attaching files. And I've also listed 4 free apps that you can use to take pictures of something with your phone, and it'll turn it into a PDF with as many pages as you need. So you do have that. Also, all the different file types that I can open. Notice there are file types I cannot open. Please, if you have a Mac, do not submit Pages files, HEIC files, or Sheets files. You will get 0 credit for those because I can't open them on my computer. Blackboard does not like them. Okay, so please make sure you're submitting files that I can open for that work. All right, I think that is all the information I have for you right now. Again, don't forget your workbook is up here. You can use it as needed. I hope you all have a great day, and I look forward to working with you this semester.